My name is Helen Whitaker. I am 72 years old. And I still hear her voice in that dining room like it happened this morning. Pack your bags, old woman. She said it with a smile. Not a kind smile. A practiced one. The kind people wear when they already believe they have one. She slid a glossy brochure across my oak table. Nursing home options. Bright photographs of strangers in wheelchairs. Soft lighting. Fake comfort. On the cover, someone had circled a place called Maple Grove Manor in red pen. Brittany, my daughter-in-law, tapped the paper twice with her manicured nail. This one has a single room, she said. They take Social Security direct. You will not even have to manage the paperwork. Is that not thoughtful of me? My son Michael sat 3 chairs away and stared at his plate. He cut a piece of roast chicken he never raised to his mouth. He did not look at me. That silence hurt more than her words. I should have cried. I should have screamed. I should have thrown the brochure in her face. I did none of those things. I set my fork down carefully. I folded my napkin. I looked at the house around us. The house my late husband Frank and I paid off over 31 years. The house whose deed sat in a safe deposit box with one name on it. Mine. Helen Rose Whitaker. Not Michael. Not Brittany. Not temporary guests who forgot what temporary means. I smiled back at her. Soft. Polite. The same smile I used at church bake sales and PTA meetings when my son was small. That is very thorough of you, Brittany, I said. May I keep the brochure overnight? I would like to read the fine print. She blinked. She expected a fight. Bullies always do. When you do not give them one, they get confused. Of course, she said, recovering. Take all the time you need. Within reason. Within reason. I excused myself after dessert. I walked upstairs to my bedroom. The only room in my own house she had not fully claimed yet. I closed the door. I locked it. Then I sat on the edge of the bed Frank and I shared for 44 years, and I held that brochure until my hands stopped shaking. I read every page. Activity calendars. Meal plans. A smiling nurse who did not know my name. They had already imagined me smaller. I did not pack a single bag. I planned. But before I tell you what I did next, you need to understand how we got there. You need to know who I was before Brittany decided I was an inconvenience with a Social Security check. You need to know about Frank. About this house. About why the deed was never in anyone else's name. Because quiet revenge only works when the ground beneath you is solid. And my ground was paper. Legal paper. Decades of it. Frank Whitaker married me in 1974 in a small Methodist church outside Cedar Falls, Iowa. He was 26. I was 24. He worked at the John Deere plant. I taught 2nd grade at Lincoln Elementary until Michael was born. Our wedding was simple. My mother sewed my dress. Frank wore a suit he paid off in 3 paychecks. After the reception in the church basement, we drove to a cabin near the river for 2 nights. No grand honeymoon. Just coffee at sunrise and the kind of quiet that feels like a promise. Frank was not a loud man. He fixed things. He kept receipts in envelopes labeled by year. He believed a handshake mattered, and a signature mattered more. When he said he would do something, he did it. When he could not, he said so early, not late. Michael arrived in 1981. A loud baby with frank eyes and my stubborn chin. I left teaching when daycare costs made no sense. Substitute teaching. Tutoring. Church nursery. The work of a household does not put medals on the wall, but it builds a life all the same. We bought this house in 1989. A two-story colonial on Maple Street with a front porch that needed paint and a backyard big enough for a vegetable garden. The realtor called it a fixer-upper with good bones. Frank called it ours. I still remember the first night we slept here. No curtains yet. Moonlight on the floorboards. Michael was 8 and claimed the blue room as if he had discovered a country. Frank and I stood in the empty living room and ate cold pizza on the floor because the table was still in the truck. The down payment came from my parents. A gift. Not a loan. My father was a careful man. He insisted the house title go into both our names as joint tenants with right of survivorship. Standard for married couples. Safe. Clean. My father took Frank aside at the closing and said one thing I was not meant to hear. I heard it anyway through the office door left half open. Do not gamble this, son. A paid home is freedom. Freedom is the best inheritance you can leave a wife. Frank never gambled it. We paid that mortgage like a religion. Extra principal every March when his plant bonus came. No vacations that required credit cards. No new cars until the old ones truly died. Michael grew up watching us clip coupons and paint rooms ourselves. He used to complain that other kids had bigger televisions. Someday you will understand, Frank would tell him. A house that is free is a house that cannot be taken by noise. Michael left for college, then Des Moines. He married Brittany in a hotel ballroom with fairy lights. She was polished. Ambitious. At the reception she hugged me and whispered, I always wanted a mother-in-law I could actually talk to. I believed her. Frank danced with me and said, near my ear, people show you who they are when money gets quiet. Remember that. I thought he meant other people. Not our table. Frank died 6 years ago. Heart attack in the garage while he was changing the oil in the lawn mower. I found him. I still cannot walk past that mower without pausing. The paramedics were kind. The funeral was full. Michael cried in the front row. Brittany held his hand and looked appropriately sad. After the burial, people brought casseroles and said Frank was a good man. They were right. Good men leave clean paperwork and a wife who suddenly understands how loud a refrigerator can sound at 2 in the morning. After the funeral, the lawyer, a woman named Margaret Chen, sat with me in her office downtown. She had known Frank from the Rotary Club. She had sharp eyes and a soft voice. Helen, she said, the house is now solely in your name by operation of law. Joint tenancy. Clean transfer. No probate fight. But I want you to understand something important. I listened. You are a widow with a paid-off house in a quiet neighborhood. Adult children sometimes develop ideas. Especially adult children with spouses. Especially when money feels tight. Do not put anyone else on this deed unless you are ready to lose control of your home. Do not co-sign loans. Do not add names to bank accounts for convenience. Convenience is how estates disappear. I thought she was being dramatic. Michael was a good boy. He had always been a good boy. A little soft, maybe. A little eager to please. But good. Margaret did not smile when she saw my doubt. I am not accusing your son, she said. I am protecting your future self. Future you will thank present you if nothing bad happens. And if something bad happens, future you will need this conversation like oxygen. I thanked Margaret. I filed the paperwork. I kept the deed in the safe deposit box at First Cedar Bank. I went home to an empty house that still smelled like Frank motor oil and coffee. For 4 years, life was quiet. Lonely, yes. But quiet. I gardened. I volunteered at the library shelving mysteries and picture books. I had Tuesday lunches with my friend Doris at the diner on Main. I learned to sleep on Frank's side of the bed some nights just to feel less like a guest in my own marriage memories. Michael lived in Des Moines with Brittany. He worked in insurance sales. She worked in pharmaceutical marketing. They visited on holidays. They sent nice cards. Brittany posted family photos online with captions about gratitude. I thought that was enough. I thought distance and politeness meant peace. Then Michael lost his job. It was 18 months ago. He called on a Wednesday night. His voice had that tight quality it gets when he is trying not to sound scared. "Mom," he said, "things are tight right now. Brittany and I are looking at apartments, but deposits are high. Could we stay with you for a few months? Just until I get something solid. I promise we will not be any trouble." What mother says no to that? I looked around my quiet kitchen. I thought of Frank. I thought of the blue room still painted the same shade. I thought of empty chairs at Thanksgiving. Of course, I told him. "Come home. Your old room is still the blue one. Brittany can have the guest room if she prefers space. We will make it work." He exhaled like a man pulled from deep water. "Thank you, Mom. You are saving us. Brittany will be so relieved. We will be model housemates. You will barely know we are there." Barely know. That promise died on arrival. They arrived with a U-Haul on a Saturday morning in April. Brittany stepped out of the passenger side in white sneakers that had never seen dirt. She looked at my porch, then at the siding, then at me. "It is cozy," she said. "Like a museum of the 90s. I laughed, because I thought she was joking. She was not joking. Michael hugged me hard. He smelled like coffee and stress. Brittany air-kissed near my cheek and already scrolled her phone for the Wi-Fi password. The first month was almost fine. Michael job hunted from the kitchen table. Brittany worked remote from the dining table. I cooked roasts and soups and the meatloaf Frank loved. I tried to give them privacy. I told myself temporary meant temporary. I even enjoyed the sound of other people in the house again. Grief makes you hungry for footsteps. By month 2, Brittany had opinions. She rearranged the living room without asking. My reading chair, the one Frank bought me for our 30th anniversary, got pushed into a corner because it clashed with her aesthetic. She said the word aesthetic like a law. "The room looks more open now," she said when I came home. "You will thank me. Dark furniture ages a space. And aging is not the brand we want." Brand. As if my living room was a storefront. She started buying groceries on my credit card. "Just until Michael gets paid," she said. "I will Venmo you back." She never Venmoed me back. I noticed small charges at first. $30 at Target. $40 at a coffee chain. Then larger ones. A $400 spa day in Des Moines. A weekend hotel when she said she had a work conference. A boutique charge for activewear that cost more than my monthly utilities. I asked Michael about it. "Mom," he said, "Brittany handles the household stuff. Do not stress. We will settle up when I start." I wanted to believe him. Mothers are trained for that. We are trained to smooth. To wait. To assume the best until the best becomes impossible. The first real incident happened in June. A warm afternoon with the smell of cut grass through the screens. I came home from the library and found my bedroom door open. Brittany was standing in my closet with a trash bag. "Helen," she said brightly, "I am helping you declutter. Half of this is outdated. You do not need 4 winter coats at your age. Storage is limited." I stood in the doorway and felt something cold move through my chest. "Those coats are mine," I said. "Please put them back." She sighed like I was a toddler refusing vegetables. "I am trying to help you," she said. Living with 3 adults requires efficiency. Sentimentality is clutter. Frank would want you to move forward. Do not say his name like that, I told her. She dropped the bag. Not gently. A glass perfume bottle inside cracked against the floor. Chanel No. 5. Frank's last anniversary gift before he died. The scent rose up between us like a ghost. Sweet. Familiar. Ruined. Brittany looked down. Oh, she said. Accidents happen. Maybe it is a sign to update your fragrance too. I knelt carefully and picked up the largest piece of glass. A thin cut opened on my thumb. I did not notice until blood dotted the carpet. Michael came upstairs because of the raised voices. He looked at the broken bottle. He looked at his wife. He looked at me. Mom, he said carefully, Brittany was only trying to help. Maybe we can all be a little flexible. This is temporary, but while we are here, we share the space. Share. In labeled bins, she said. In the garage. Dry enough. Honestly, Helen, keeping a shrine is unhealthy. Michael agrees. We talked about it. He said Dad would want the room used. I turned to my son, who had appeared behind me like a man arriving late to his own conscience. Do you? I asked. He rubbed his forehead. Mom, it is just furniture. Dad is gone. Brittany needs to work. We all have to adapt. You still have your memories. That is what matters. Memories do not need a garage. I went to the garage and sat on the concrete floor beside those bins for a long time. The air smelled like lawn fertilizer and old oil. I opened one bin. Frank reading glasses were still inside the top drawer organizer. A note in his handwriting was taped under a paperclip tray. Grocery list from years ago. Milk. Bread. Light bulbs. Love you, H. I cried without sound. Then I closed the bin. I carried 2 of them upstairs to my bedroom closet, one careful step at a time. Brittany could rearrange rooms. She could not rearrange my memory if I refused to surrender it. That night I added another page to the notebook. Date. Desk moved without consent. Michael said adapt. I started sleeping with the notebook under my pillow like a second spine. Incident 4 came at Thanksgiving. I invited Doris and 2 neighbors from across the street, the Carters. Small table. Traditional meal. I had cooked Thanksgiving in that kitchen for decades. Turkey. Stuffing with sage. The cranberry sauce from my mother recipe. Brittany announced 3 days prior that she would handle the menu because my cooking was heavy and outdated. Heavy and outdated. She made a dry turkey and a salad with seeds I could not chew comfortably. Cauliflower something that pretended to be mashed potatoes. When Doris complimented my old cranberry sauce recipe that I had still managed to sneak onto the table in a glass dish, Brittany smiled tightly. Helen loves living in the past, she said. Some of us are focused on the future. Progress is uncomfortable for people who romanticize struggle. Doris glanced at me. I shook my head a fraction. Not here. Not with company. After the guests left, Brittany cleaned with aggressive efficiency. Pans banged. Cabinets slammed. Then she said, loud enough for Michael to hear from the living room, hosting is exhausting when the homeowner will not modernize. We should talk about long-term arrangements soon. This house has potential if someone manages it properly. Long-term arrangements. I rinsed a plate and felt the first true crack in my denial. This was not temporary anymore. This was occupation. Michael came into the kitchen later with a dish towel and a soft voice. Mom, ignore the tone. Brittany gets snippy when she is tired. The meal was her way of contributing. Can we just have a peaceful holiday season? Please. Peaceful for whom? I asked. He had no answer. He dried a plate that was already dry. December brought Christmas lights Brittany called tacky and replaced with minimalist white strands. She returned my ceramic angel to a box marked seasonal clutter. Michael got a short contract job and promised rent contributions that arrived late and partial. Brittany called the partial rent an investment in shared lifestyle upgrades. I called it arithmetic that never favored me. I started keeping the notebook more carefully then. Not only money. Tone. Dates. Who was present? Who looked away? When you live inside a slow theft, memory becomes a battlefield. Writing is how you refuse to lose it. Incident 5, the one that made the brochure possible in her mind, happened in January. Snow on the ground. Cold that gets into your knuckles. Ice on the back steps even after salt. I had a mild fall on those steps carrying a bag of birdseed. Nothing broken. A bruise on my hip and a fright that left me sitting on the cold concrete longer than pride wanted. The doctor said rest and careful walking. Michael drove me home and seemed genuinely worried for about 12 hours. He brought me tea. He adjusted my pillows. For a moment I saw my boy again. Brittany saw opportunity. Helen cannot manage stairs safely, she told Michael that night in the kitchen. I overheard from the hallway, hand on the wall, breath shallow. We need a plan. These old houses are death traps for seniors. Assisted living exists for a reason. We cannot put our lives on hold forever because she is sentimental about wallpaper. Michael murmured something I could not hear. Brittany continued, sharper. Your mother has a paid-off house and Social Security. That equity is just sitting here while we rent storage units for our real furniture. It is irresponsible, Michael. Think about our future. Kids someday. A real home. Not this museum of grief. If we wait for her to volunteer a solution, we will still be here when we are 50. A real home. Not this. My home. My marriage. My life reduced to an obstacle between Brittany and equity. I went upstairs. I opened my jewelry box. Inside, under a false bottom Frank installed himself after a neighborhood burglary scare in the 90s, I kept a copy of the deed abstract and Margaret Chin business card. I stared at that card for a long time. The embossed lettering. The phone number. The quiet warning from years earlier about convenience and estates. I did not call yet. I still hoped Michael would grow a spine. Hope is a stubborn habit in mothers. Hope keeps you cooking extra portions. Hope keeps you making excuses in the dark. Through February and March, Brittany tightened the screws. She controlled the thermostat and called my sweater a personal problem. She complained about my radio volume when I listened to the Sunday service I could no longer attend every week. She invited her sister for a weekend without asking and put her in my sewing room. My fabric. My machine. My patterns from decades of hems and costumes and church bazaars. When I objected, she said, communication goes both ways, Helen. You never said the sewing room was sacred. Sacred. She used my values against me like tools from my own shed. She also kept using my cards. I checked my statements carefully now, every Friday with a highlighter. Charges at clothing stores. Meal delivery every other night. Subscription boxes. A new laptop she claimed was for work and too urgent to wait for her bonus. Nail appointments. A couple's massage I was not invited to receive. When I confronted her with printed statements at the kitchen table, she cried on cue. I cannot believe you are monitoring me like a criminal, she said. After everything we do for you. Living here. Helping. Keeping you company so you are not a lonely old woman talking to ghosts. Do you know how insulting this is? Michael, are you seeing this? Michael put his arm around her. Mom, maybe the cards should just be for true emergencies. Brittany felt attacked. Can we reset? We are family. Families do not audit each other like the IRS. I felt attacked, I said. Those are my accounts. My name. My credit. We will pay you back, he said. I swear on Dad. He did not pay me back. By then I had a running total in the notebook in my nightstand. Not because I am petty. Because numbers do not gaslight you. The total sat above $9,000 in unauthorized or unreimbursed charges. I wrote the date beside each one. I wrote who was present when I asked about it. I wrote his promises. I wrote the exact phrases Brittany used when cornered. Criminal. Lonely old woman. Talking to ghosts. Paper remembers. I also began photographing rooms before I left the house. Not because I am paranoid by nature. Because I was becoming a historian of my own erasure. If a chair moved, I knew. If a box of frank papers went missing from a shelf, I knew. Knowledge is not hysteria. Knowledge is how widows survive charming thieves. Then came that Sunday dinner in April. Almost exactly 18 months after they moved in. Lilacs starting at the fence line. Windows open just enough for spring. Brittany roasted a chicken. She set the table with my good china, the set Frank and I received as a wedding gift from his aunt in Omaha. She folded napkins into shapes I never bothered with. She poured wine for herself and Michael. Water for me, without asking. She said alcohol at my age was risky. Thoughtful again. Always thoughtful when she wanted control. Halfway through the meal, she brought out the brochure. I already told you what she said. Pack your bags, old woman. The words landed in the room like a dropped plate. For a second nobody breathed. Even the refrigerator seemed to pause. Michael flinched. Brittany kept smiling. She had practiced this. I could feel the rehearsal under her lipstick. I have researched facilities within 40 miles, she continued. Maple Grove has availability next month. They have activities. Bingo. Crafts. Chair yoga. You will make friends your own age. And Michael and I can finally turn this house into something functional. We were thinking of converting the downstairs for a nursery someday. The market value here is excellent if we ever refinance or sell. But first things first. You need care, Helen. Real care. Not denial. Not stubborn pride. Pride breaks hips. I looked at my son. Michael, I said. Is this what you want? He cleared his throat. He rearranged peas that did not need rearranging. Mom, Brittany has a point about safety. After your fall. And the house is a lot for you. We are not trying to be cruel. We are trying to be practical. You would still visit. Holidays. Birthdays. We would bring you back for special occasions. You would not be erased. You would be supported. Visit my own house. As a guest. Special occasions in the place where I learned my child to ride a bike in the driveway. I could have said 100 things. I could have listed every charge. Every bin in the garage. Every time he chose the easy silence. I chose one sentence, because one sentence can hold a door open while you build a wall behind it. I will think about it, I said. May I keep this? Brittany pushed the brochure closer, pleased, almost gentle now that she thought compliance had begun. Keep it. Read it. Tomorrow we can call together. I already spoke to an admissions counselor named Tracy. They are holding a soft reservation under your name. Is that not lucky? Spots like that vanish. Lucky. I went upstairs. I locked my door. I laid the brochure on Frank pillow like evidence at a trial. I washed my face. I looked in the mirror and saw a woman who had been patient past the point of wisdom. Then I called Margaret Chin. It was Sunday evening. The office voicemail answered. I left a message with my full name, my number, and one sentence. My daughter-in-law told me to pack for a nursing home. The house is in my name. I need counsel tomorrow. First thing Monday, Margaret called me back at 8:12 in the morning. I was already dressed. I had barely slept. Helen, she said. Tell me everything. I did. The move-in promise. The credit cards. The rearranged rooms. The broken perfume. The dry erase laws. The den. Thanksgiving. The fall. The hallway speech about equity. The brochure. The phrase old woman. Soft reservation under my name. My voice stayed steady. My hands did not. I read from the notebook when memory tried to soften edges. Margaret listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for 3 seconds. I heard papers shift on her desk. Good, she said. You called before you signed anything and before you left the property. That is the most important part. Now listen carefully. We are going to do this clean. No screaming matches. No social media. No drama that can be twisted into a story about a confused widow. Paper. Banks. Locks. Law. Are you ready? I looked at the brochure. I looked at Frank's photograph on the nightstand, the one where he is laughing with a fish he barely caught. I am ready, I said. Margaret walked me through a plan that week like a general drawing a map. She spoke in steps so I would not drown. Step 1. Confirm title. She pulled county records before lunch. The deed remained solely in my name. Free and clear. No liens. No co-owners. No hidden quitclaims. Brittany could hand me 100 brochures. She could not hand me eviction from my own property without a court order she would never get. Margaret emailed me a PDF of the record as if it were a shield, because it was. Step 2. Financial freeze. Monday afternoon, I went to First Cedar Bank with my ID, account numbers, and the notebook. I sat with a manager named Paul Reyes in a glass office that smelled like printer toner. I explained unauthorized charges by a household member. I did not scream. I did not call Brittany names. I presented statements, highlighted lines, and dates of confrontation. Paul took notes. He asked clarifying questions. He treated me like a person with rights, not a problem relative. We canceled the compromised cards while I watched. We issued new ones with new numbers mailed to a P.O. box I opened that same day at the post office on 4th Street. We removed any online access that used shared household devices. I set transaction alerts to my phone only. I also moved a large portion of my savings into a new account Brittany had never seen and never would. I updated beneficiaries carefully with Margaret guidance later that week. Paul asked if I wanted to press any formal disputes on recent charges. I said yes on the ones I could document clearly as unauthorized or obtained by deceit. The bank started the process. Some money would return. Some would not. The point was the door closing and the record opening. Step 3. Credit monitoring and documentation. Margaret advised a calm police report focused on card misuse if the bank recommended it for the file, not family theater for the neighbors. I filed what was appropriate with an officer who looked tired and thorough. No exaggeration. Just facts. Case number in the notebook. Copy to Margaret. Step 4. The house itself. I hired a locksmith on Wednesday while Michael and Brittany were both out, him at a job fair, her at a client lunch, she announced loudly. New deadbolts on front and back. New keys. 3 copies only. Mine, Margaret office safe, and Doris for emergency. I also installed a simple camera doorbell. Legal. Visible. Not hidden spy equipment. Just a boundary with a lens. The technician showed me the app. I practiced until my fingers stopped fumbling. I did not change the locks that day in a dramatic movie way and leave them locked out in the rain with their groceries melting. Margaret was clear. Give formal written notice as the homeowner. Document everything. If they refuse to leave after notice, then we escalate through proper channels. Sheriff civil standby if required. Not chaos. Chaos helps the person who shouts loudest. Paper helps the person who owns the property. Step 5. The will and the trust. Thursday morning, rain on the windows of Margaret office, I updated my estate plan. Michael had been my primary heir. Of course he had. He was my only child. But inheritance is not a hostage payment for abuse. It is a gift. Gifts require respect. Gifts can be reshaped when respect dies. I did not disinherit him in a rage. I restructured carefully. A modest cash bequest remained for Michael, enough to say I never erased my son. The house, the bulk of my savings, and frank life insurance residual went into a trust with clear terms. Michael would receive nothing from the real property if he or his spouse contested the will, or if he failed to vacate after lawful notice, or if further financial exploitation was proven. Doris became successor trustee if needed. A meaningful portion went to the library literacy program Frank and I loved, the one where kids get free books in summer. Margaret read the new documents aloud slowly. I signed. 2 witnesses from her office. Notary stamp. Clean. Copies sealed and stored. One more thing, Margaret said, removing her glasses. Write a letter of wishes. Not legally binding in the same way, but useful. Explain your reasons in your own words for any future court that might ask. Judges dislike greedy rewrites of elderly parents' lives. They also dislike vague accusations. Be specific. Be calm. Be complete. I wrote the letter that night at Frank's desk, which I had already decided would return upstairs after they left. It took 4 pages. I did not call Brittany names. I listed dates. Quotes. Amounts. The brochure. Pack your bags, old woman. Soft reservation. Credit totals. The perfume. The den. Michael's silence. I wrote that love is not ownership of another adult life. I wrote that Michael chose quiet when protection was required. I wrote that I still loved my son. Love and access are different things. Access ends when safety ends. Step 6. The notice. Margaret drafted a formal letter on Thursday evening. I was the homeowner. Their occupancy had been a temporary license at my pleasure as a family courtesy. That license was revoked. They had 14 days from service to vacate with their belongings. No further use of my accounts. No removal of fixtures or household goods that belonged to me. No harassment. No third-party claims of residency rights they did not possess. A copy would be delivered by certified mail and by process server for clean proof of receipt. I asked Margaret if I should warn Michael first, like a soft landing. Mother instinct dies hard. No, she said gently. Soft landings are how people like Brittany scramble, delete, hide, and rewrite. He had 18 months of warnings in the form of your face, your bruises, your bank statements, your closed bedroom door. Serve the notice. Then speak if you choose. Speaking first is how leverage evaporates. Friday morning smelled like coffee and rain. The process server came at 9:40 while Brittany was on a Zoom call in frank old den, laughing at something a colleague said. I stayed in the kitchen with tea and the notebook closed under my palm. I heard the doorbell. I heard confusion. I heard her voice rise. Then Michael's voice. Then footsteps sharp on my floors. Brittany stormed in holding the letter like it burned. What is this? She said. Some kind of joke. Did you actually pay someone to serve papers on your own family? It is a notice to vacate, I said. You have 14 days. She laughed. Too loud. Too bright. You cannot kick us out. We live here. Michael is your son. Courts do not throw family into the street. Especially not seniors who depend on family support. You are confused. This is elder confusion. Michael, tell her. Margaret predicted that line almost word for word. Actually, I said, courts recognize property rights. This house is mine. Alone. You are guests whose welcome has ended. My attorney information is on the letter. Direct your legal questions there. Do not put your hands on my documents. Do not raise your voice in my kitchen. 14 days. Michael looked pale. His shirt was wrinkled. Mom. Please. Can we talk without lawyers? This is insane. We can fix this today if everyone calms down. We talked without lawyers for 18 months, I said. It sounded like pack your bags, old woman. It sounded like equity sitting here. It sounded like share until share meant surrender. This is me packing the situation correctly. Brittany slapped the letter onto the counter. You ungrateful hag. We took care of you. We kept you company. We improved this dump. We gave up our lives to babysit your loneliness. And now you want to play queen of the castle because you are bitter and lonely and jealous of a real marriage. Improved. I thought of Frank's desk in the garage. I thought of broken perfume. I thought of $9,000. I thought of water poured for me like a child while she drank my wine from my glasses. Brittany, I said, you will leave my china alone when you pack. You will leave the appliances. You will take only what you brought and what you purchased with your own money. If anything of mine disappears, it will be reported as theft. Calmly. With inventory lists and photographs. My attorney already has timestamps. My doorbell will have more. Her face changed. Anger is easy. Paper is harder. Paper does not cry on command. Michael whispered, Mom, where are we supposed to go? That is a question for adults who plan to put me in Maple Grove without asking if I wanted a window that faced a parking lot, I said. I imagine the same resourcefulness applies. You researched facilities. Research apartments. They spent the weekend in panic. Brittany called her mother in Ohio and paced the driveway with cigarette smoke I had never allowed indoors. I heard shouting through the floorboards about crazy old women and stolen futures. Michael tried 3 separate apology speeches in my doorway, each softer than the last. Each one included the phrase Brittany did not mean it that way. She meant it exactly that way, I said the 3rd time. Meaning is what people do, not what they rebrand after consequences. Close the door on your way back to packing. On Monday, Brittany tried a new tactic. Sweetness with sugar so thick it stuck. Helen, she said at breakfast, eyes red, voice soft. I was stressed. The brochure was a conversation starter. A worst-case option. A way to open dialogue about safety. I care about you. I care about your future. Can we reset? Maybe family counseling. Maybe I pay back the card charges on a schedule. Maybe Michael and I contribute more. Please do not do this to him. He is breaking. You are breaking your only child over pride. I sipped coffee from a mug Frank gave me on a random Tuesday in 1998 because he saw it at a gas station and thought the bird on it looked like me. Silly. Tender. Mine. Brittany, I said, you called me old woman and told me to pack. You held a soft reservation in my name like a boarding pass. You do not get to rebrand cruelty as concern when the locks change and the lawyer answers. You have 13 days. Use them wisely. Not theatrically. She cried. Real tears or useful tears. I no longer cared enough to diagnose the difference. Diagnosis is for people still negotiating. I was done negotiating. Michael took unpaid time off his new shaky job to apartment hunt. The market was not kind. Deposits were high. Credit checks were real. Irony is a patient teacher. He came home one night and sat on the stairs with his head in his hands. I almost sat beside him. Almost. Mothers almost themselves into another year of damage. I went to my room and wrote the date instead. Midweek, Brittany escalated again. She claimed I was mentally unfit. She told Michael they should petition for guardianship and temporary control of finances for my own good. I know because Doris overheard Brittany on speakerphone in the driveway with her sister, voice carrying in the cool air like trash on a windy day. Doris came straight to my side door with her hand on her heart. I called Margaret within 10 minutes. Margaret laughed once without humor. Classic, she said. When title fails, attack capacity. We will be ready. You have a recent physician letter from your annual exam affirming cognition and independence. You manage your finances. You initiated counsel yourself. You served lawful notice. If they file anything frivolous, we respond. Possibly with fee requests. Do not argue medicine with Brittany in the hallway. Sit tight. Document. If she records you, stay calm and short. They did not file. Maybe Michael refused. Maybe Brittany learned that accusing a competent woman with a lawyer and clean records costs money she did not have and proof she could not invent fast enough. Either way, the threat floated like smoke and then sank. Day 10, the bank dispute started posting partial credits. Brittany found out somehow. Probably an old email notification she still received before we fully cut every digital thread. She cornered me in the upstairs hallway near the linen closet, close enough that I smelled her perfume, sharp and expensive. You reported me, she hissed. Like a thief. Do you know what that does to a person? To a marriage. To my name. If the charges were authorized with full informed consent, the process will show it, I said. If they were not, the process will show that too. I am not your judge. I am your former host. Step back from my person. She raised her hand. Not to hit me. To point hard at my face, finger trembling. The doorbell camera did not catch this upstairs angle, but her shouting carried, and Michael appeared before anything worse could grow. Margaret later said any clip of aggression would have been useful if needed. It was not needed. Brittany lowered her hand when Michael said her name like a warning and when she remembered the house now watched doors. 14 days arrived on a gray morning with low clouds and a smell of wet soil. I did not stand on the porch with my arms crossed like a television scene. I stayed inside with Margaret on speakerphone in my pocket and a deputy scheduled for civil standby in case of trouble. Not arrest theater. Peacekeeping for a property exit. The deputy was polite, bored in the professional way, and stood near the curb like a punctuation mark. Michael loaded the U-Haul with his head down. Boxes. Lamps. The standing desk. Brittany slammed drawers and muttered words I will not repeat. She tried to take a set of silver serving spoons. I pointed to the inventory photo on my phone. She put them back hard enough to ring. At 2:14 in the afternoon, she stopped at my front door for a final performance. mascara slightly smeared. Chin high. You will die alone in this house, she said. And Michael will never forgive you. When you are in the ground, do not expect us to cry. Do not expect flowers. People like you end up as cautionary tales about bitter women who chose property over family. I looked at her. Really looked. She was young. Angry. Afraid of losing a future she tried to steal instead of build. Fear makes people cruel when they have practiced entitlement first. I already lived alone in this house after Frank died, I said. Loneliness is honest. Theft dressed as family is not. You were not family to me when it counted. You were a campaign. Goodbye, Brittany. Michael paused on the steps with a box labeled Kitchen Miscellaneous Mom, he said. I do not know who you are right now. I am the woman who raised you, I said. And the woman who still has her name on the deed. Those were never in conflict until you made them be. When you are ready to speak without her script, you know my number. Until then, respect the boundary. Do not come back uninvited. Do not send her as a diplomat. Doors open for honesty. Not for pressure. He nodded once. Not agreement. Exhaustion. Shame maybe. Then he drove away with her in the passenger seat and the U-Haul rattling behind like a tin confession. The deputy confirmed the premises were cleared of occupants. I thanked him. Margaret stayed on the phone until I locked the new deadbolt and exhaled. The house went quiet. Not empty. Quiet. The good kind. The kind where the refrigerator hums and the clock ticks and no one is rewriting your life in dry erase marker. I stood in the foyer and listened to my own home recognize me again. I walked from room to room. I opened windows even though the air was cool. I stripped the bed in the guest room and washed the linens twice. I put Frank's desk back where it belonged with Doris' help on Saturday, both of us laughing and grunting up the stairs like women half our age. I found my reading chair in the corner where Brittany banished it and returned it to the lamp. I cooked a simple supper of soup and bread. I ate at my table without performance. No one monitored my leftovers. No one called my recipes heavy. Then I cried. Not because I regretted the notice. Because love and justice can share a chest and still feel like grief. I cried for the boy who used to bring me dandelions. I cried for the man who could not choose me when choosing costume comfort. I cried because Frank was not there to say he was proud, and I needed him to say it anyway. In the weeks after, karma arrived the way I prefer it. Not as lightning. As paperwork. As natural consequences with timestamps. Brittany credit took hits she could not charm away. Some disputes resolved against the charges. A couple of merchants cooperated with the bank. Collection calls found her new number. She screamed at Michael in parking lots outside discount stores. I know because mutual acquaintances in a small city talk, and Doris has ears everywhere, and truth travels when people stop being afraid of the loudest voice. Michael found a temporary studio apartment with thin walls and a view of a dumpster. He called once, late, after midnight. His voice was raw. Mom, he said, Brittany says you poisoned the family. She wants me to cut contact completely. She says if I speak to you I am choosing money over marriage. I do not know what to do. I am so tired. I sat in Frank's chair with the lamp low. You already chose, Michael, I said gently. You chose her silence over my safety for a year and a half. You chose share when share meant my erasure. I am not demanding a divorce. I am not scripting your marriage. I am demanding reality. If you want a relationship with me, it will not include free housing, free credit, or rewriting what she did into a misunderstanding. It will include respect. Therapy if you want it. Honesty. No more old woman speeches in my dining room. No more brochures. No more using my fall as a business plan. He cried. My boy. 41 years old and crying like the child who skinned his knee on this same driveway and wanted a cartoon bandage. I love you, I said. Love is not a blank check. Come back when you understand the difference. Not when you need a cosigner. When you understand. He did not come back that month. Or the next. Summer arrived fully. Tomatoes in the garden. Fireflies over the lawn. I hosted Doris for lemonade on the porch. She raised her glass toward the maple tree Frank planted when Michael was 10. To deeds in the right name, she said. To women who read the fine print, I answered. In July, Margaret called with a final tidy note. The estate documents were fully executed and stored. The trust funding steps were complete. If Michael ever contested later, he would face a record so clean it would bore a judge into agreement with me. Helen, she continued, you did this without spectacle. That is rarer than people think. Keep the file. Keep living. I hung up and looked at the Maple Grove brochure. I had kept it. Not as pain. As a bookmark in my own story. I placed it in the file labeled Household Chronology, right behind the bank letters, the police case number, the notice to vacate, the process server affidavit, and the letter of wishes. A complete archive of a woman refusing to vanish politely. Some people keep scrapbooks of vacations. I kept proof of survival. By August, I heard through the grapevine that Brittany had taken a lesser job with less perfume and more complaints. She blamed Iowa for her unhappiness. She blamed me for her marriage weather. Michael was still with her then. That hurt. Of course it hurt. Mothers do not stop loving on a schedule convenient to self-help slogans. But I slept through the night in my own bed without listening for footsteps rewriting my closets. That peace was not cruelty. That peace was oxygen. One humid evening in early autumn, I found a voicemail from Michael. He sounded older. Not in years. In friction. I left Brittany, he said. Or she left me. I am not sure who closed the door first. There was a fight about money and about you and about the version of the story she tells at work. I am in a one-bedroom on the other side of town. I am in debt. I am ashamed. I am not calling to ask for the house. I am not calling to ask for a loan. I am calling to ask if I may take you to lunch. No speeches prepared by anyone else. Just me. If you say no, I will understand. If you say later, I will wait. I listened twice. Then a third time. I did not cry. I felt something cautious open, like a window in a room that has been shut for seasons. I called him back the next morning. Lunch, I said. Public place. 1 hour. We will see. No surprises. No third parties nearby. No urgency about my will. Those are the terms. We met at a diner Frank used to like, the one with cracked vinyl booths and pie under glass. Michael looked thinner. He ordered coffee and stared at it as if it might explain him to himself. I failed you, he said. Yes, I said. You did. Silence. A waitress refilled a stranger cup 2 booths away. Then Michael nodded. No defense. No, but Brittany. No, you have to understand. That was new. That was the first real thing he had offered me in a long time. I am not ready to fix everything in one grilled cheese, I told him. Trust returns in teaspoons, not gallons. You may call on Sundays. You may visit when invited. You may not send Brittany as a messenger, a victim, or a revised historian. If you rebuild a life with honesty, I will watch without funding your shortcuts. If you return to convenience at my expense, the door stays as it is now. Close to exploitation. Open to respect. Those are not punishments. Those are adult terms. He wiped his eyes with a paper napkin. Okay, Mom. I hear you. I hate that it took losing everything temporary to hear you. But I hear you. Okay is not a cure. It is a start. Starts matter when they are not demands in costume. I paid for my own meal. He paid for his. Symbolism is not silly when symbolism used to be free access to my wallet. We hugged briefly in the parking lot. Then I drove home alone with the windows cracked and the radio low. The porch light welcomed me. No brochure on the table. No labels on my flower. No dry erase laws. No one calling me old woman like my age was an eviction notice written in lipstick. I made tea. I sat in my chair. I looked at Frank's photo and finally said out loud what I had needed to say for months. I kept the house, Frank. I kept myself. I kept the name on the paper. If you are listening to this and someone is rearranging your life without permission, hear me clearly. Love does not require you to fund your own erasure. Family is not a free lease on your dignity. Temporary is a word with an ending, and you are allowed to speak that ending without becoming the villain in someone else's story. Write things down. Dates. Amounts. Quotes. Call a real attorney. Protect your title, your accounts, your keys, your medical voice. You do not need a scene to reclaim your life. You need a spine, a paper trail, and the willingness to disappoint people who benefited from your silence. And if a glossy brochure ever slides across your table with a smile that is not kind, you are allowed to smile back, keep the brochure overnight, and change the ending. You are allowed to stay. Thank you for sitting with my story today. If it helped you feel less alone in a house that stopped feeling like yours, stay with us. Subscribe to True Revenge Stories for family revenge stories every day. Quiet ones. Paper ones. The kind where the person who thought you were powerless learns too late that your name was on the deed all along. I will be here on my porch in Cedar Falls, finishing my tea, listening to the evening settle over Maple Street, watching the maple leaves turn without asking anyone permission. And I will not be packing my bags.